Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the TheKnitGirlls. This is episode 91, and it is January the 1st of 2012. It's a new year.
It is. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I was going to have a glass of champagne, but then I drank it last night, so sorry.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
And I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. And welcome. We hope that you enjoy the show. So works in progress. Do you want to talk first? Or
Sure, I can talk first. I am in the process of knitting a hitchhiker, and I have been for a couple weeks now, so that shouldn't be any surprise to anyone. It's kind of been my lurk at the bottom of the purse project. I'm trying to get to the end of the row.
So when you don't have, when you're in line at Starbucks, or when
Yes.
you're driving and talking on the phone.
No, I don't drive and talk on the phone. Jessica would kill me.
No, it's okay to talk on the phone,
Oh,
but not
it's
text.
Is it
Jessica
okay?
is trying to replace me as Laura's best friend, and I'm on to you. Just want to say that.
But it's not okay to be driving and on Etsy or on Plurk.
Yeah, it's not okay to catch the Nyan Cat update when you're leaving my house at 1 a.m.
After we recorded on the way home.
Yeah.
I was at a stop sign, and I just happened to check Plurk as I was waiting for the next person in front of me to go.
Because we all know how long it takes to sit at a stop sign, right?
I get bored. And Lisa of Fiber Nymph Dye Works had just clerked that she had put up the Nyan Cat, so I pulled over. And I stopped my vehicle, and I put it in park. And I like how I'm doing the directions. And I scored some Nyan Cat, so I can't wait till that gets here. Okay, back to the hitchhiker. So this is my hitchhiker. It is out of the Cloud Lover Haunted Vineyard hand spun that I did. It has 13 points.
It's strapping. It's cool.
I like it so far. I need to work on it more. I think this will be what's going to get a lot of work probably this week. So I have 400 yards in this skein, and I'm just going to do a 400 yard one. I'm actually going to send my second 460 yards or whatever it was to a friend of mine who couldn't get the yarn. So I want her to be able to participate as well, and she loves hand spun, so it'll be a perfect little surprise for her, a little post-Christmas present. She does not spin. So this is The Hitchhiker by, Bem? Martina Bem. On size 4 needles, 3.5 millimeters. And I'm enjoying it so far. I'll probably get like 35 points, and that'll probably be good enough for me. Because I went up a needle size or two,
and
I believe.
The Hitchhiker is a great one for just that yarn. You don't know how much you have of it, because you can knit and knit and knit, and then the bind off row is a single row.
Yep. This is the same pattern designer. I did Trillion a couple months ago, like mid-October, November. When did we visit Wendy?
That was
beginning of November.
Yes.
Okay. So I knit that pattern by her then, and I really enjoyed that pattern. So.
And I've knit Hitchhiker by her, and I've knit Magrathea out of Hand Spun by Martina Bem. So we like Martina Bem.
We like her quite a bit. So that's my first work in progress. My second work in progress was actually finished, and I ripped it out earlier today. So I started the Abby shawl collar cardigan on Christmas Day. And I got the whole body knit while we were in Philly, and I was working on the actual shawl collar when we left Philly and were riding to Knoxville, Tennessee. And I finished that in the car, and then I did the little sleeves, because really the sleeves are just bound off.
It's kind of like a vest, really.
Yeah, it really is. And today before the show, I was going to weave in the ends and make it all pretty, and perhaps even wear it. And I put it on, and I had not put it on since I had done the collar. And the collar is a short row collar, so there's a lot more material up here. But it was pulling up at the bottom. It looked really, really crappy. And was actually pulling the whole length of the sweater up by like a good 2 inches. So it made me look, it was hitting like where you would typically do waist shaping. Yeah. Like that's how much it was pulling it up. And so it looked
pulled
really...
it up at the corners?
It pulled up the whole bottom of it. So it looked really junky. So I ripped all that out during the Steeler game. And I'm going to re-pick it up. I think where I went wrong is, if I had to guess, if you look at, okay, so the whole sweater is supposed to be knit on 13s. I used Broco Vintage Chunky, which is not
which you got
suitable,
in Philly, right?
which I got at a yarn shop in Philly. 5 skeins of it, which is actually borderline for the size I needed. But I was going to make it work.
Yep.
And because I didn't want to buy a whole 6 skein for like 2 yards.
You have a row of twisted stitches.
I know.
Okay.
I wasn't going to mention that.
Sorry.
I did though, and I don't know how I got there. I think I was holding the
I do that sometimes
point.
with my socks. Once I finish them, I'll look at the bottom and I'll have like a random row of twisted
It's a whole
stitches.
row, but it's actually where the waist shaping would be. So I'm like, whatever about it.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, I killed your trainer. You got 5 skeins.
So I got 5 skeins, which was just enough. And I did not swatch because it's a top-down cardigan. So it starts up here, and it's
Is it raglan style?
Yeah, it's raglan style. All these imperfections will be blocked out. I keep telling myself that vintage is an acrylic wool blend, and it's really soft, and that's what I knit the baby sweaters out of a couple months ago, whatever.
Nieces.
Yep. So, didn't even swatch, was getting 3 stitches to the inch on size 11s, because the 13s were, the drape was just, it was filled with holes, more so than this. And, so I just went up to the largest size, because that's much larger than the size I wear, and doing the math, that worked out okay. Actually increased 3 stitches more, or 4 stitches more. And then went all the way down to 13 inches past the armpit, and you're supposed to do 12, and then did my 2 inches of ribbing, and I went down to 10s for the ribbing.
Okay.
Because I wanted the ribbing to be a little bit tighter and not so loose.
Right.
So when I picked up, and I did the sleeve bind off, because all the sleeve is you put it on holders, you knit 1 row, and then you bind off.
Right.
And I decreased a little bit, so it's nice and tight.
Right, so it doesn't have a big gaping.
Yeah. I decreased 2 stitches on each sleeve. 1 on each side of the raglan. So 1 right here, and 1 right there. And I picked up the rows that were on the underarm, obviously. The stitches on the underarm. And so I went down the needle size. I kept the ribbing that I was going to do for the band on size 10s, and I think that's where I really went wrong. That's a very long story for where I went wrong. But
I'm just going to let you roll.
It's going okay. So I'm going to rip it back out. The thing about picking up, normally I would just pick up more stitches, but I had already picked up 1 per row going up, even though it said not to. It said pick up 2 for 3, which is pretty common. But with ribbing, I like to pick up 1 for every row because it draws it in. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I think it might go in timeout for a good bit, but I have a ton of yarn left over.
Well, maybe our viewers might have some recommendations.
Yeah. So I have a full skein, basically. This is a full skein of the vintage. This is what I ripped out, this larger ball at the bottom. And then I have this little bit. So I feel like the yardage really lied, because I did a larger size and used up almost a whole skein. Well,
yeah,
like
but you
it'll
didn't
probably be
check
that
for
much.
gauge or anything,
No.
right? So it's hard to say whether or not the yardage lied.
I don't know.
I always buy extra just in case anyway, but...
Yeah, I didn't. I bought under by almost 50 yards.
Just letting it go, man.
Living dangerously. Because I had just assumed there were sleeves and there are none. Because I didn't read through the pattern either before I started.
Just like, I'm just going to pick a random pattern.
But the pattern was really, really well written. It's the Abbey Shawl colored cardigan, and it was really well written. And what I really like about it is, so for the raglan shaping, she had like 7 different sizes. And she had them all on their own, like, little separate half sheet of paper.
Oh, that's cool.
So
you
you
don't have
could
to try
only
to figure out which number
Yeah,
in
you wouldn't have to
parentheses.
figure out the number in parentheses, and I only had to print out, like, 2 pages.
That's
Actually, I
cool.
left it on my phone. Oh, I can look up who wrote it. So I didn't have to print out numerous pages that I really didn't use. I'm using the Goodreader app for my iPhone. And the person who designed this would be, because it's
that one in my
7
queue.
total. Someone gifted this to me, and if it was you, thank you very much, because I've enjoyed knitting it. Whole bunch. It's thebrownstitch.com is her website, by Elizabeth Smith. And that is what it's supposed to look like. But that is not how it looked like on me.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, I do have that in my queue. Does that have sleeves on that one?
Nope. Well, that one looks like it
Yeah,
has
it
sleeves,
looks like
but
it
it's
does.
just the cap, I think, from the raglan.
Oh.
But see how lovely, like, her her shawl collar went like that, and
like
it lays nice and
almost,
flat, and it looked really pretty. Mine did not look like that at all. It looked ugly and awful.
Well, at least it was like the last thing that you did,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's fixable.
Definitely. Definitely. Very fixable, so... But it might go in timeout. I haven't decided yet. I think I might block it first, and then try to weave in the ends and block it, and then do the collar. So I can kind of get a feel if it's going to stretch, if it's... What's going to happen with it. I don't think that yarn in the past is stretched. So anyway, vintage chunky 10s and 11s, Elizabeth Smith pattern, the Abbey shawl collared cardigan. And that's all I have on the needles except for your Christmas present, which you can't see.
Okay. Let me get to the end of my row here. I've got 2 things on the needles right now, although one of them is there only in spirit, because the first is the Bavarian cable socks, and I have not touched them since last week. So they're the exact same as last week. It's the Woolmiza single malt in the 80/20 base, and I just haven't knit on them since last week because I've been busting my butt on something else that y'all will see later.
My awesome Christmas present.
Yeah,
which I already got because I'm awesome.
And then she forgot it when she got here, and I sent her ass home to get it.
Michael was supposed to advocate for me, and he started laughing at me.
He came into the bathroom where I was putting on makeup, and he's like, Laura forgot her gift. And I was like, tell her to get her ass back and go get it. And he's laughing, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. You tell her to go back and get it. And
I pulled into the driveway and went, oh, sugar. I left that out. Like, seriously, I pulled in, saw your car, and said, oh, sugar.
You did not say sugar.
No, I didn't. She's going to be really mad. And then I was like, maybe I can get Michael to take the blame. And I walk in and I tell him, and he started laughing at that point. And he's like, you should go home. And I was like, it's 15 minutes home and 15 minutes back, and that'll put us behind schedule. Yeah. And I don't
Michael
want
had to help me with multiple parts of your gift, so he's like, yeah, I'm not getting that.
And he just kept laughing, and he's like, well, I'll go advocate for you. And he went in there, and he came out laughing, and he was like, no, you need to get your butt home. I almost called my mom to see if she would drive it halfway, and then I was like, that's just pure laziness. So I've had a lot of Diet Dr. Pepper, because I drank a can like this on the way here, as I listened to Just One More Row, because I'm behind on them. And then I stopped by CVS to get my typical Dr. Pepper size, and I drank that on the way back, and then back here. And I had a Cadbury egg.
Yeah, so she's a little sugared up.
I'm a little sugared up.
So the other thing on my needles right now is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. And
that is really pretty.
It's called Pole. I don't know if it's got an accent on it or anything, but it's just called Pole. And it's basically just a big flowy cardigan. And the shaping of it, which will help you when you actually see.
It's kind of like a swirl shawl.
Yeah, it's basically a circle. It's got a square for the top of it between your shoulders, and then everything else is a circle, so you just... It's not a fitted item at all. It's just a real flowy piece.
One of those swirl cardigans.
Yeah.
Like that book.
Right.
Knit Swirls or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a real popular kids pattern, and both of us have knit it.
No, I haven't knit it.
Yeah, you have.
Mm-mm.
It's like an... Oh, you knit the Afghan version.
I just knitted an Afghan that sits on my Papa's
Star
chair.
Afghan. I can't remember what it's called.
It's, hold on, I'll think about it. Keep going, I'll think about it.
So anyway, I'm using the yarn that I won in Kentucky. Is that where it was?
No, Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro. I won 9 skeins of this.
We walked in, and she won a door prize. And they never knew that we were there.
Boboli. And it is an acrylic blend. It's 42% wool, 35% acrylic, and 23% viscose. It's like a single ply kind of yarn, and the pattern actually explicitly says not to use acrylic because you're supposed to be able to block it out, but I'm doing it anyway because it looks like it'll be fine. You know how well that turns out, right? When we say, oh, it'll be fine. Oh, it'll block out. Whatever. But if it doesn't fit me, it'll fit somebody.
So what percentage acrylic is it?
42%.
That's not too bad.
So this is the back part, which is just a rectangle. And then it looks kind of weird until it's all joined together. It looks like it's not going to work. But this is the back part. And then this is the center of the back. And that's when you start knitting the circle. And then there are these wedges that are thrown in there. These
pinwheel sweater.
Pinwheel, there you go. That's the one we were talking about. So there are these wedges. And you just want to make sure that you can't see the short rows too much. And I don't think that you can. or nobody's going to be looking at it that close anyway. It does roll a lot, and it does even in the pattern. Once I'm done, I'll block it and see how much it rolls, and if it's really...
You could crochet around it.
I could, and I was thinking that if it rolls too much and it really, really bothers me, what I'll do is I'll get some beads, and I'll do a knitted border, because the beads will give it weight and hold it down and keep it from rolling. But I'm just going to wait until I'm done and see.
You better hope you're never in a shipwreck, because you'll sink to the bottom.
Okay, if I'm in a shipwreck, I
no
doubt
Titanic
I'm gonna worry.
for you.
Yeah, but it is kind of fuzzy, but it doesn't bother me. I don't plan on this being like a show center or showpiece sweater. It's something that is cathartic for me to knit at the moment.
We both cast on sweaters this week. That's crazy.
Yep, and that actually is part of one of my goals for 2012, which we'll get to later. But
okay,
that's it.
Okay, I have a finished object, but I don't have it, so I'm going to have you put in a picture of it right now.
Right.
But I'll show you the leftover material. So, before I left, I was knitting my sister-in-law a pair of socks for her Christmas present, and she got them and she loved them. And I actually knit those socks in 2 days. So, this is what's left over, so you can kind of see the color as precise as we can make it.
And this is Vesper.
It is Vesper into the Wildwood. I knit her a pair of Wendy's toe-up socks with gusset on size 1.5 needles. I used my knit picks to circular method. They're all still, everything's still in the bag. Because I haven't unpacked for my trip yet when I got home on Friday.
I haven't unpacked for my trip from freaking California yet, so.
But she really liked them, and she sent me pictures
That's
of them
sweet.
on her feet, which was really, really nice. Because I didn't take any pictures, so I appreciate that.
I don't take anything. It's like somebody said something to me about my project page not being updated, and it hasn't been updated since summer. And I'm like, dude, I have a podcast. I can't. That's when I started doing the podcast, my project page just went to crap.
That's part of the reason why I'm doing Harry Potter House Cup, is to keep up with putting things on the projects. Anyway.
Ooh, that's pretty.
No, it's freaking gorgeous.
What yarn is that?
So this is the Ruche Beret by Susan B. Anderson. See, I forgot the word beret. Hey! It is out of Madeline Tosh Sport. I started on Friday, finished it yesterday, took pictures today. This does not do it justice. I can tell you that right now. It is the Vanilla Bean colorway.
That is a really pretty color.
And it is browns with just pops
of like a lavender.
Purples. And it's just so freaking pretty. And I put it on my project page today.
You did.
Because it's part of the Loopy 4th Quarter Challenge.
Yep.
So I took pictures using my skilled eye touch, hold away, snap, and then play with them in Picnic, which if you've never used Picnic to edit photos, it's a free photo editor. It's like Picnik. Have you ever used Picnic?
I've seen
if you do
but
Flickr, it's through Flickr. They're owned by the same Yahoo-based company, I believe, or they've got a co-op of some kind. Anyway, back to my awesome beret. It is knit top down. And so you start at the very top, and the only modification I've really made to this was I used Judy's Magic Cast On for the 9 stitches you cast on at the very top.
What was the prescribed cast?
You just cast on and join in the round.
Oh, okay.
So that way I wouldn't have a hole, even a minuscule hole up there. And then you knit down for a whole ton, and then the magic happens. Well, you increase. And then you
and
knit,
then the magic happens.
And then you knit stockinette for 8 inches. And then the magic happens. Because these little pleats that are at the bottom, you take 5 stitches and put them on a double point. And then another 5 stitches and put those on a double point. And then put the wrong sides together. And then put them in front of your circular needle and knit 3 together. Going through the 2 double point stitches and the circular stitch. So you're decreasing 3 into 1. So 2 stitches. It's like magic.
I'll just have to try it. I can't
It's a
really
pleat.
visualize.
It's really, really cool. I hope Susan does like a tutorial or something. I don't know if she has one or not. I should have.
By the way, I watched her video review of a book. I can't remember what it was called, but it was so freaking adorable.
Was it the Spud and Chloe farm one?
No,
because that one's so cool.
It was one that was done just a couple of weeks ago. Maybe she was reviewing. It was an all-around craft book. I can't remember what it was, but she's just so freaking adorable. She's so, like...
I love Susan.
Oh, I love her face. She's so cute.
And this is super cute. I put it on, but I've got my hair up, and it looks kind of crazy with my hair up, but it looks really cute on. And I'm going to totally make this Because you can use up, you don't even have, like if you're running short on yarn, it's top down. So you can make it a little bit shorter or decrease a little bit more. Super cute. So anyway, I'm going to make some out of hand spun. And they might be my go-to present for next year.
Yeah, that's a really cute hat.
I love it. And I love the Madelintosh Sport. So thank you, Sherry.
Like a lot of knitted, I mean, mass-produced, like stuff at Target and Walmart. A lot of knitted accessories I've seen in the past. This season, there's a ton of like cowls and hats and stuff that look knitted. I mean, they're machine produced, obviously, but it's interesting. I forgot to say that this pole sweater is on size 9s, 5.5 millimeters, and actually, I really, really threw caution to the wind on the sweater because I didn't gauge swatch at all, but you know, it's a big open sweater, and also I actually went down a needle size, which is very atypical of me because normally I have to go up a needle size, but I'm knitting a size 2 sizes larger than what I would normally wear. So I'm just...
Have you looked at the gauge since you...
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Don't care. And the reason I did that was because Signature doesn't make size 10s, and that's what it called for, and I was like, I'm not going to do it then. I'm just going to use size 9s and just knit a bigger size and hope it all works out. And if it doesn't, I'll give it to somebody skinnier than me. Whatever.
We are fail at sweater knitting. And there's a reason for this.
It's funny because when you were saying earlier you did the math on the Abby shawl collar cardigan, I almost laughed. I was like, really? You did the math?
I did. In my head, using my iPhone, I like figured out, because I was getting 3 stitches to the inch rather than 2.5, and I multiplied the cast on number time, you know,
to make up the difference, right?
Yeah, I figured it all out.
Like, I was trying to figure out something for fabric, for yardage, and I was, like, trying to multiply, or I was trying to add, like, 1/3 of a yard plus 5/8 of a yard, and I was like, oh my god, my brain is going to explode.
You have to find the common denominator.
But there is none between 1/3 and 5/8. What's the common denominator?
24.
But that's lower. That's not up. Denominator is down.
Oh, okay. Common...
See? And I just called Michael, and I was like, I don't know what it is, fix me. Because I suck at math, and that is not...
You found the number that they have in common. That's the lowest.
But there is none between 3 and 8.
No, but the next number higher, because it... Never mind. I'm not doing this.
We suck at math.
Yeah.
That's the lesson you should take away
the
from this
only D I ever got in school, math.
Yeah.
Pre-calculus.
I got an F in health once because I fell asleep. That's the only time I've ever gotten an F on anything.
I've gotten lots of those. This was 9 weeks test scores.
I was totally a goody two-shoes, and I never did bad.
My brother texted me this morning because he found a book that he wrote when he was in 1st grade, and it said in it it was like, you know, those assignments that you have in 1st grade, like write about your family.
Yeah.
And it said, I have a big sister, and she's going to be a librarian when she grows up.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't that cool?
He needs to take a picture of that and send it to you.
He texted me at 9 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day to let me know. It was 10 o'clock his time.
That's very sweet, though.
It was very sweet.
You should get a picture of that. Anyway.
We are rambly.
We are. Sorry, we're 20-something minutes into this. So I don't have a knitting FO, but I have an awesome FO.
Oh, and it says on it, Laura's awesome quilts.
Yeah.
See? Just right there.
Yep.
Because I wrote the show notes. I have to...
I would have written it the same way, but... yeah, hopefully we don't knock anything over. So
this is the mass of
let me preface this by saying I've never made a quilt before. I've never quilted anything before. I made a blanket for my nephew, but it was like prescribed. It was like cut this and put this together with this. And this one I saw Friendzone is on my blog reader. She does a lot of quilting. And I saw her make a quilt that it was in reference to the quilt shows. When you go to quilt shows, you're not allowed to touch a lot of things.
Or take pictures.
Yeah, so, because, you know, it's your oils, you'll get it dirty, and I understand that. But she made one that said, touch this quilt. That was what it had letters, and it said, touch this quilt. And I was like, oh man, you could apply the lettering to a whole lot of things. So I got this genius idea like in September, and then didn't start on this until late November because...
You showed the blocks that you sewed together, right?
I did.
Cut. Yeah.
Yes. So I showed you guys about a month ago the blocks that I had sewn together in like a patchwork, but didn't tell Laura what it was for.
You told me it was for Carol.
Yeah,
I remember all your lies.
So I made Laura a quilt because I'm an awesome friend.
And it's like 5 foot long.
It's huge. Does it fit on your bed?
It's a little bit small, but it's like a good cuddle quilt.
Okay. So it says it's all about me. So
because it is.
There's a thread I forgot to cut. It's patchwork letters, and then
I love the back.
They're sewn on, and I did a real simple swirly quilt thing.
And then the back,
yeah,
looks like that.
Yeah, it's just I just made some.
And I like the binding too because it's all different.
Yeah, it's got real scrappy binding, and it's from the same fabrics as the letters. And I asked Kobe because he was helping me.
It's got the blah blah blah.
I asked him. I said, "What's your favorite block? Which one do you think Laura will like the best?" And he chose this one because it says blah blah blah. And I was like, Laura was actually with me when I bought that. So yeah, so there's cute. Tons of really cute fabrics in there, and I was really proud of myself for doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, I had to do and redo a lot of the stuff because like tension on threads and problems I had, but this has been the thing that has taken up my time for the past like month, and why I haven't gotten a lot of knitting done. But
it's so cool.
And I actually questioned.
It's my new snuggle blanket.
Oh, there's a thread I forgot to cut.
If you start this, it will never stop.
I questioned whether or not I should give a 30-year-old woman a blanket that said it's all about me. But Stacy of Tinted Yarns reassured me.
Everyone was in on this.
Reassured me that it would be appreciated.
There's one more there. I was told specifically not to pull on threads.
Yes.
That she would cut them.
Because I didn't get all of them after I had quilted.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's so cool.
It's nice to give a gift to someone that I know will appreciate it.
It's also going to be cool when we get to visit Stacy. You have your quilt that you take with you, and I will now have my quilt.
I have to get pictures of it at some point, but I'm going to wait till it's warmer outside and we can take it outside and do it. Because it's too big to take.
I slept with it last night. It was nice and comfy. When I had my earache.
Yeah, she put everything in the world in her ear to try to make her ear better, by the way. If you're her friend on Clark and she asks for recommendations, you should just say things like, put peanut butter in your ear. It'll make it better, and she'll try it.
No, I only put 3 things in my ear. Alcohol.
Then peroxide.
And then what finally worked. Oh, no,
we tried sweet oil.
We tried sweet oil.
And then
Google never lies. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about Google. I'm talking about random people on Plurk, and you're just like, I don't know you, but okay, I'll do what
Hank
you say.
told me no. There was legitimate theories behind this. Hank told me to put alcohol in it because alcohol, even if it goes in your ear, it'll dissolve, like it'll evaporate. And she's a nurse, a former nurse, so I believe
questioning Hank.
And then someone on Plurk told me to put hydrogen peroxide in there, so I did that. And it's cool because it fizzes.
I was going to say, the reason I wouldn't is not because I'd be concerned that it would hurt, but just because it bubbles, and that in your ear, it would drive me mad.
And then, it wasn't that bad, actually. It was kind of cool. Because you could feel it popping and fizzing,
yeah,
too.
No, that wouldn't be good.
And then, I put sweet oil, because Michael said that, and I had read that online, too. And then, the final thing, I went to Walmart this morning, and they actually have medicine that you can put in your ear, and it'll dissolve stuff. Because I had been wearing...
so tell them what it was. What was it that you used that worked?
It was another kind of peroxide.
Oh.
I can't remember.
You'll have to link it in the show notes.
I'll obviously have to link it in case any of you get an earache. Where you can't hear out of one ear.
It's going to be a new drinking game. What did Laura put in her ear this week? I swear. She told me she put peroxide in her ear, and I was like, really?
It did work for a little while.
Until it didn't. I swear. Okay, I'm going to show my spinning before you go through your parade of spinning. Last night was New Year's Eve, and I work in the casino industry, so typically I would have had to work on New Year's Eve, but...
This is the first time since I've known you that you didn't have to work on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, well, because we don't have a boss, and technically I'm like the senior person in the department. I didn't pull rank and didn't, but I was still the on-call person, so I still got called all night.
Yeah, by Kitten.
Kitten. Yeah, her name is Kitten, and she didn't... Anyway, I'm not going into it because that's work. But, yeah, I still got called all night. So Laura said that we should have a spinning date. So we did. We watched Practical Magic.
Which Leslie had never seen
I'd
before,
never seen
with
before.
Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, which is one of my favorite.
It was listed under comedies.
It's not.
Kept waiting for the comedy part, and there never was. But it was a good movie. And then we watched Delicious Mike Rowe, for a while. Dirty Jobs. And so I got the other 2 ounces of my Tempted Perfect Union, and this was a cashmere blend that I just adore. I finished it, and it hasn't been blocked yet or thwacked, and it is a little bit overspun. So
that's not bad at all. Wait till you see mine.
Curls a little bit at the bottom, and I've probably got like a sport weight for the most part. I got 301 yards of the main skein, but then when I was spinning it today, it's been like a month since I was spinning the other 2 ounces, and I spun this 2 ounces a lot thinner, so I still have all this left. So I'll wind it into a cake and then 2-ply it onto itself. And we just did a video on how to do that, so I'll probably do that later this week. So this is a lot more than what I usually have left. So 301 yards of the bulk of it, and then I'll probably have another 25, maybe 30 yards on the bobbin.
Cool.
And that's my spinning. What's yours?
Okay. So I have 3 wheels now. I have the Ladybug, which I've had for 5-6 years. That's my first wheel. And then I had an Ashford Traveler in there, which actually I sold because it was not the wheel for me, so it lives with Becky. And then I got the Sidekick. Mm-hmm. And then I got a Lendron double treadle, which was actually up at Becky's house. She had picked it up for me and taken it up to her house. So I was playing with that over when I was staying with Becky, and I'm really enjoying the wheel. But it had a little bit of a learning curve for me, mainly because I was sitting on a bed spinning, I think, and I was using a woolly winder for the first time.
Yeah.
So, well, actually the second time because my Traveler had a woolly winder. But this one worked a lot better than my Traveler's woolly winder, in my opinion. So I went to the shop in New Jersey when I was visiting family because my second cousin once removed. We went to visit her and my great aunt and great uncle and all her kids, and her husband, who they are sweet as can be. And their middle child went with me to the yarn shop, and he carried all my bags, and he's a sweetheart, and he reads a lot, so we have a lot in common. And he's middle school age. But I bought some roving, and I decided to spin it up. And it was thick and thin on purpose, because I was just really playing with the wheel and putting it through all its different tensions, playing with tension, playing with the woolly winder, playing with the different, what's the word I'm looking for?
Whirls.
Ratios and whirls. So this is what I got off the first little bit. So it's just 4 ounces of merino.
The first that you've spun on this wheel.
Yeah, and it's nice and thick and thin and, you know, corkscrewy and kind of fun, and I'll use it for something, probably a hat or a cowl. It's a merino, it's nice and soft, and it was just a local type merino, and so I got probably, how many yards did I say last night? I can't remember now.
I was focused on your other spinning that you were doing.
Oh, and, so that was the first half of that, and then I Navajo plied what was left over, because I was just playing. It wasn't, like, super awesome roving, and that's a little bit over-twisted. So, there's the 3, and that's a nice, thick, bulky, actually, and that was 30 yards. And I think the other was, like, 150. We're going to say 150.
Sounds good.
And that's nice and thick and thin. You can see right there. And kind of fun and playful. So that's what I applied last night. And then after midnight, I started spinning some all spun up Polworth. And that was 4.2 ounces. And it is in the M2075 colorway, which looks like this. So it's pinks and purples and oranges and greens and blues, all kind of jewel tones.
A lot of colors.
It is a lot of colors going on. So this is the second 2 ounces of 4. Ooh, I'm making stuff fall everywhere.
It's Laura droppings all over my room.
Yep. And then this is what's left of the first 2 ounces, because the rest is on the bobbin. And Leslie and I are torn about how we feel about this.
It depends on what color she's spinning at that moment. Like, some of the colors are really nice, and then there's like that pop of random in-your-face orange.
Yep. I don't know. So
I think it'll balance itself.
Yeah, I think it will too. I'm not giving up on it completely. And this was spun on a woolly winder bobbin. You can see the little gear there. The wheel came with one woolly winder bobbin, and I got 2 more for Christmas. That was my big Christmas present from my parents this year. So, super excited about that. And that's why it's so even looking. Not the actual spinning, but on the bobbin. That's why it's so even looking. Because what a woolly winder does, get to an actual part, is it takes a little hook type thing. Do you have yours up here?
Bobbin is up here.
And it,
it's
your head, and it, using the gear, it goes back and forth automatically as you treadle.
Really packs.
So it packs a whole bunch of stuff on that bobbin.
But you can't just buy the bobbin. You have to buy the whole flyer.
Yeah, you have to buy the other gear part that goes with this. And they're a little bit pricey.
I bought mine for my matchless back in right after I got my wheel. So probably 2009, maybe 2008. And it was, I think it was $225 for the flyer plus 3 bobbins at that time. And that was years ago.
And the bobbins, I think, are $60 a piece.
Oh, mine weren't that high. I think mine
Maybe
were
they're
40
$30
a piece or something
No,
like that.
I think they're $60. I don't know, because I didn't, no, they're not, I don't know. Yeah, they're $60 a piece, I believe.
And then I got mine in like 2 days, so he must have already had one made, because it's one guy that custom makes them all.
Yes, he and his son.
Yeah.
And they are very sweet people. I've met them at Maryland before. So, it's not 60, it's lower than that. It must be 40. Because I had the set of signatures on there, too. Now I'm adding up my Christmas totals in my head. Anyway, so that's what's on the Lendrum right now. And then I wanted to bring back what's on the Sidekick, because this is going to get, the second half of this is going to get spun and plied.
That looks like my yarn, man.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's very similar to mine.
So this is the Pigeon Roost Studio that I spun probably 3 weeks ago, and the other half is going to get plied and spun as soon as my mom gets off the Sidekick.
Oh, is she spinning on it right now?
Yeah. So as soon as she gets off, I'm going to put that on. So that's the spun singles from before that y'all might remember. But I wanted to show them to you again before I finish them so you can see them. Have them fresh in your brain for next week. And there's the other half of the bat, the second bat of 2 ounces. A little bit over 2 ounces.
Are those the ones that had little ribbons tied on them?
2.25. No, they had,
Oh, but they were in there, yeah.
They were in this.
Yeah, okay.
And they are super cool. And that's Pigeon Roost Studios. In the fairy colorway, it's 4.5 ounces, $27. I pay less than that because she has sales. She also doesn't charge for shipping, which is always a bonus. BFL Silk Merino Blend. And I just think they're gorgeous. And they remind me of fairies.
Pigeon Roost is one I want to try. I haven't tried yet.
Oh, I have a bunch of her fiber. She's really sweet and she's got some great fiber. And I think she just recently got into the bats. I don't remember seeing them more than 6 months ago. I'm sticking all my bobbins back in my little bags like that. Yay! And then last but not least is what I'm going to... Oh, no, I have another thing. Oh, man. Anyway, Jessica texted me the other day, my new BFF.
Surprise.
And she said, we're racing on the second Bullseye shipment. And I said, but I don't have my Bullseye shipment with me. I'm in Philadelphia.
Oh, sorry.
And she was like, no, we're racing. So I'm gonna... This is what's going on the bug next. It's my loop bat from Steph. Aquarian's the colorway, 5.6 ounces of merino, tencel, bamboo, and silk. So that's what's going on next.
5.6 ounces.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Speaking of loop, I wound off.
Oh, that came out really pretty. What
I had on the wheel last time. It did. It's very dense.
Yeah, but it's got like just the right amount of sparkle.
Mm-hmm. I think it's dense because it's 310 yards for 5.4 ounces.
Was it a 3-ply?
Nope.
Oh.
Yes, it's Navajo plied. Yeah. So yes, it is a 3-ply.
That's probably why it's so dense.
And it's a gradient. So it goes, you can kind of see all the colors on both sides. I like it though.
I do too.
So I have to figure out what I'm going to...
You need something sea-themed. Like under the sea-themed.
One of the Harry Potter House Cup things are sea-themed. I was like, oh man, I should have saved that. to spend for that, but I'll have plenty of other spinning to do for Harry Potter
you
House
will.
Cup.
Find a way to work that loop bat that you're racing Jessica.
I know. Well, it is aquarium, so I think I can make that work for that theme. But this is 5.4 ounces of merino, tencel, bamboo, and Angelina. 310 yards. The colorway name was Typhoon. I love the little bags she
it's a really
gives
clever
you
package.
because I can just tighten it back up and it goes in a little bag. And it's very, very cute and very cool. So that's it for me for spinning. The Lundrum's going to have the all spun up. The Bug's going to have the loop race bats with Jessica. And the Kick is going to have the Pigeon Roost Studios fairy as soon as I steal it back from my mother.
What is she spinning on it right now?
You know, I don't know. I didn't look. She's been working on a puzzle, which I've...
Like a jigsaw puzzle?
Yeah, like a huge jigsaw puzzle. So that's kind of different. She got a bunch of jigsaw puzzles for Christmas. And my niece likes to help with jigsaw puzzles, which means steal all the corner pieces and the outside pieces after she's put them out.
Whenever Kobe and I put a puzzle together, he always, when I'm not looking, will steal a piece and put it in his pocket so that he can be the last person to put in a piece. For some reason, that's really important to him, so I just let him.
It's pretty funny.
Whatever. Pick your battles.
Yep. So that's it for me for spinning. We have a book to review, which is Weekend Hats.
Which you got from our local yarn shop, right?
Yep, this is one that I purchased from Hank of Yarn. And this is actually where the ruche...
your FO for one of your
Yes,
FOs.
my ruche beret that I just finished is out of. So this is published by Interweave Knits. Weekend Hats, $22.95 is the retail price on it. And Melissa Labar and Cecily Glowick McDonald are the two authors. This came out fairly recently. I'm going to say probably October. Let's see
I
if
think
it
we got
says.
it right before we went to
2011. So, and my favorite thing right off the bat is the fact that all the hats right there with all the authors of the patterns are right there on like the third, right after the title page. So that's really cool. This is a compilation book. So they basically asked their friends to design for the book using different techniques, a hat that they would design for themselves or for others. And that's where it goes. It's got, let's see, 25 total patterns of hats. Everything in here is hats.
Yeah, there's a few guy patterns in there as well.
Yep. And the first hat that I really like is the Wanderer Cap by Jared Flood, and that could be male or female.
Mm-hmm.
It uses one skein of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. I had that memorized because I really wanted to knit this hat.
Which is also Jared Flood's yarn.
Yes. And in the Hayloft is the color they use there, and it uses size 7 and size 8 needles. I like how large the charts are in this book. Like, they are super big. And also the models on every single pattern have that little sidebar where they're acting goofy with the hats. Another one that we like is the Everdeen Beanie by Tanis Gray. This uses Malibu Silky Merino, which I actually have a few skeins of in the stash. Surprise!
I was going to say, that's going to shock no one.
It uses one hank, so it's perfect for that one skein that you just picked up randomly or that you might have left over for from a bigger project. Size 6, which is 4mm needles. And I like the lace detail, which is very similar to a Cookie sock pattern.
Homonymous.
So it could match your socks.
I have knit those before. Mama Linneman has a pair.
She does. I've forgotten about that. Next is the Chroma Cap by Mary Jane Mucklestone.
I like that one.
It is a ferrule. It uses Broca Ultra. It is a nice warm yarn. Alpaca is actually keeps air in it, so that creates a warmer.
Creates a little air pocket.
Yeah, it creates a little air pocket. That's not a good way of describing it. It's got a hollow core, so the air hangs out there and creates a warmer fabric overall. Again, nice big charts. Hued Torque by
Gudrun Johnson.
Thank you. She's
She's
a Shetland trader.
I was going to say, I know she's got...
But she doesn't actually live in Shetland. She used to. It's in the biography in the back. You were taking too long, so I started reading random stuff. She actually lives in Massachusetts now. But her design work is influenced by her Shetland
She's got
Island
a really
heritage.
popular pattern. I'm trying to remember what it was.
She's got a really cute baby sweater and some other really nice. She had the Shetland Trader book that Jared Flood did all the photography for.
Oh, that's where I know her from.
It's really cool. And I like the thing, I keep flashing this up and down, but the thing I like about this for the Farrell is with the stripes, I feel like you could very easily carry all those colors up on the inside.
Yeah. I would anyway, because it's a lot of work to weave in those ends.
Yep. Then we have, now we're not showing you every hat pattern, obviously.
We don't love every hat pattern.
There's the Leah
Cloche
by Cecily Glowick McDonald. And that is out of Barocco Blackstone Tweed. I love myself a little bit of a tweedy yarn. And I've been wanting to try that one for a while.
And I like the cloche. The cloche concept is a simple one.
And I like the ribbon detail on that. I think it's very cute. A lot of little cute details in this book. Then we have the Pebbled Beanie, which is out of Sock Yarn, the Valley Yarn Semi-Solid Hand-Dyed Sock Yarn, and it's actually knit inside out, which I thought was very cool, to keep the stitch pattern consistent.
Yeah.
So you won't get a jog.
In this book a lot.
They all look like they're having a good
pretty.
time.
Yeah.
That's knit on size 2, 2.75 millimeters. Then there's the Welted
Toque
by Melissa Labar, which uses St. Denis Nordic, which is a sport weight yarn.
Yeah, I like the little detail on that one.
And that uses size 5, 3.75 millimeters. I like the little, yeah.
The ruching.
That's different. And then the next pattern I probably am going to knit out of here is the Leaves Long Beanie by Melissa Labar. It uses Madeline Tosh Vintage.
It's a really pretty reverse stockinette, lacework, detail pattern. It's just a nice twist on your typical lace hat.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, if you have one skein of worsted weight with a fairly tight twist left over, I think that would be a very pretty, especially if it's something like Dream in Color or Madeline Tosh, a pretty thing to do, especially out of a green. Nice big charts. Every single thing has little tips and tricks, which I will show you with the one that I completed. So this is the Ruche Brace by Susan B. Anderson. This is the one that I just finished. And another aspect of this book, this actually uses Blue Sky Alpaca's Surrey Merino, one skein in size 7, 4.5 millimeters. But there's tips and techniques in almost every single section of the book with every single pattern. So you can learn a little bit new concepts with the book. And that's about it. There's a huge glossary and how-to section, so I think that this book would be pretty well suited to both people who are trying to get their feet wet with different concepts, maybe a little bit of an advanced beginner, but also with experienced knitters as well, because there's stuff like the pleating that I'd never done before that's a little bit new concept. There's also a very nice contributing designer section in the back.
I like how they did that.
So again, this is Weekend Hats, 25 knitted caps, berets, cloches, and more by Cecily Glowick McDonald and Melissa Labar. And it retails for $22.95. This was published by Interweave Knits in the fall of 2011.
Yep, I like it.
I like it. I think it's well worth the money. If you're thinking like Ravelry, if you were to buy these patterns individually, like $5 per pattern would be much more than the 20, even if it's like 6 patterns in there, and I liked all the ones we tagged, so that's way more than 6. It's well worth the money.
Yeah. I like the one that you did a lot. I'm going to have to do that one.
I think that'll be, and there's some wonderful things in here for hand spun. I think the one that I talked about doing next with the leaves and the garter stitch, which garter stitch in the rag. I think that would be really pretty in like a semi-solid hand spun as well.
So we're getting on up there in time, and we still have favorite things to do. So we're probably going to have to truck it through this a little bit.
Okay.
So first thing we're going to do is do the giveaway for What are we giving away this week?
We are giving away a sock club.
Oh, yes, the Tri-Dye membership.
Tri-Dye membership, which is super cool, and she picked out all the rest of the members today. So
it's
you are
Fiber
the
Charmer,
last one in.
Girll's Art, and Knitty and Color. And we want to thank all of them for the opportunity to give away membership on their on our program. That's like a $90 value.
That's a very nice,
huge giveaway. So
I appreciate any time anyone gives us anything to give away.
So I've got it up on my Rafflecopter page. I've not picked a winner yet, so I'm gonna click the Add a Winner button and see who it comes up with.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Oh, I didn't touch it hard enough. There we go. Add a winner. It says, it's thinking Stacy. So sking924@gmail.com. You left a comment December the 23rd. I'm not going to send you an email because I want you to have the opportunity to be like super excited that you want it on there. So Stacy, once you watch the show, send me an email. You don't call me Les@gmail.com, or you can PM me on Ravelry like the winners of our last giveaway did. And congratulations, you have a membership free of charge into the first Tri-Dye Club. So
that's going to be super cool.
We are very excited.
We have another giveaway for this week. I got to spend, I know, I'll get it in a second. I got to spend some lovely time this week, just briefly, with some great people, including Pitaloop Jen in Philadelphia, and also a bunch of really cool people, including Lisa, I think it's Lasnit too, and Dana and Crystal and Christy, and some really cool people, and Amy and Carrie, oh my goodness, more people than I can even remember, in Knoxville. And Dana had sent in my mom's package, which my mom never told me about, some fiber for us to give away. So she actually sent this quite a bit ago, and Mom was out of town, so I didn't open it. This is the Unwind Yarn Company, which has fabulous fiber. I've spun some of her fiber in the past, and she's also got some great stuff that I haven't spun yet, but her Swirl BFL especially is really nice. This is 100% BFL, which is Blue Face Luster, and Visions of Sugar Plums. It is 3.8 ounces, and it also comes with this super cute matching stitch marker from EB Crafts. So thank you so much, Dana, for the opportunity to give this away to one of our viewers. I'm not going to lie, I almost kept it for me. So we're going to do just like we did last week for Rafflecopter. You can head on over to the Unwind store and tell us your favorite colorway that Dana produces and say nice things about Dana using the Rafflecopter widget, and you'll be entered to win.
So after you leave a comment on the blog, you have to go back up to the widget, which is between the video and the comments, and there's a little button that says do it or I did this for leave a comment. And then you can either log in with your Facebook account or just your name and email. I just do name and email if somebody, if I'm entering on somebody else's, because I'm not a huge Facebook fan. But that's how you leave a comment, because we have had a few people who are confused on how to do it. And it is a little different than how you normally do it.
So while I was away meeting all these wonderful people, Leslie was taking care of Humberto, which is my cat. And
you have to give his full name.
Humberto Elgato Meow.
And he is a Maine Coon.
He's a Maine Coon.
So he's a very floofy cat.
He is. And she was over taking care of my house and my cat, and the alarm code magically went off. When
I got to her home, I have all the codes to get in. So I go in, and
she's done this many times before.
Yeah, this is not my first rodeo. So when I pushed it, I didn't push it right the first time, so I did it again, and it stopped beeping. But apparently, it didn't stop telling the police department that there was somebody trying to break into the Linneman household. But it wasn't beeping, so I didn't know there was anything wrong. And then, like 3 minutes later, I get a call, and I'm in there, I'm feeding Humberto, and I'm giving him some water and some snuggles and making sure, he's fine. And I get a call from Laura, and I answer it and say, how serendipitous, I'm at your home.
And I'm like, I know, and the police are on their way.
And I was like, what?
And Becky's in the background going, run for your life, Leslie. And I was like, this is probably not a good time to run from the police.
And Laura's like, the alarm's going off. And I said, no, I'm at your house. And I held the phone up. I'm like, do you hear the alarm? It's not going off. And I guess there was some sign. I guess if you do it wrong or push some sequence of buttons, it notifies the police department. So I was like, what do I do? And she says, very helpfully, I don't know.
Because I've never had that happen before.
So like, I was looking up the Hernando Police Department's number because I was going to call them and, you know, tell them it was, I knew they'd probably still come out anyway. But I was going to call them.
Because when I've hit the police, because it's like you punch in the code, and there's either the enter button or the police or fire button, and I've hit the police button.
I might have done that then, I don't know. But it wasn't making noise, so I assumed it was
fine. No, it won't make noise once it contacts the police.
But, you know, by the time I had looked up the number, 2 very nice policemen had arrived, and, you know, I gave them my identification. They made sure I wasn't wanted for any crimes, and Laura happened to call, so they talked to her. And then Humberto's little stinky ass ran out the door, and one of the policemen who was very helpful went and got him for me. So they're very nice. The Hernando Department of Police, very nice. They're on the ball, man.
They are.
Let's see, what else did we have to talk about? You have a game.
I got a cool new board game. It is the Princess Bride Storming the Castle game.
I haven't played it yet.
It kind of reminds me of Magic. Did you ever play Magic?
Yeah, everybody played Magic.
You get card game. You get cards. And you can, like, put, like, the shrieking eels on the player.
Up.
Yeah, on the person beside you, and make them stop in their tracks. And you have to get, so it's a little pathway, and you have to get to the castle.
I want to be Andre the Giant.
That's fun.
Fezzik.
I was...
Who did you play this with?
Inigo and Montoya. I played this with my brother and sister.
Oh.
So my brother always complains that his wife won't play card games or board games with him. So I played this, and then I played euchre with my cousins when I went to my cousin's house. And some other cool game that Becky had that I can't remember the name of now.
Yeah, Michael won't play card games with me either. So. What else? Did you want to talk about your trip some more, or have you already...
No, I think that's enough.
It's been covered.
I went to some very nice places and met some very nice people. I went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total yarn shops. Bought some stuff and didn't buy stuff and had a great time overall. So that was lots of fun. Got to snuggle the baby and snuggle with my niece. And there's some pictures of that up on Flickr and on my Facebook, including a video of my niece telling my brother that she's a dirty bird. Because that's what my mother calls children that need baths. And she was like, I'm a dirty bird. So cute. It makes me giggle. So my niece, who's 2.5, is adorable, and the one that was 3 weeks old, who's now 4 weeks old, is Alice, is also adorable, and they love their stockings. So that was really, really cool. We are going to do something. We're going to start talking about goals, but we're also going to... Well, before we start talking about goals, I wanted to thank everyone who sent Leslie or myself a pattern or a gift. Callie from Dramatic Knits Podcast sent me Sunko's Fruit Gems, which was... And my sister-in-law gave me Sunko's Fruit Gems too, so I've been all sugared up.
I went to CVS yesterday and they had Cadbury eggs, and I was like, I might as well just grab some for Laura.
And then I ate the ones you gave me and had some more. Seriously, sugar addict. Like a 5-year-old in a candy store. But thank you so much to everyone who sent... I got some really awesome cardigan patterns after I said I didn't feel like knitting shawls anymore. And some really cool hat and socks and shawl patterns. It was very well appreciated, and I thank you so much for all that. Everyone who sent me a gift or a card during this holiday season, I appreciate a whole lot, and I know Leslie does as well.
I do. Yes.
So, another thank you, Diane of Knittables is doing a Thin Ice Cow, a knit-along, for the pattern Thin Ice, which is a pattern that I wrote.
And it's for the month of January, right?
For the month of January. So you have from today, which is January 1st, till January 31st, and I'll be haunting her board, helping people who need help, and Leslie's going to participate.
Yes, I have 746 yards. Out of, I did this a couple of months ago. It's 2 different yarns. The gray is Miss Babs in Slippery, and the multicolor is Mad Monet, and that's fiber optic blend. So I got 746 yards, and even though the pattern calls for 800, I also have 100 yards of the gray in.
That'll be fun for the edging.
Yeah, so I have enough. I have plenty, and even if I didn't have this, I'll just end it when I get close to the end, because it's a very, it's a repeating set of textures.
It's easy to modify.
I'm going to be casting that on sometime this week.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to knitting with my hands. But Thin Ice is a good excuse. I haven't actually bought the pattern yet. I have to.
I think you might be gifted the pattern if you really want it.
I think you actually sent it to me to look at before you published it.
I think I did too.
I might have it somewhere.
You're my tech editor, yo.
Yeah. Anyway, So you want to talk about your Expand Your Horizons?
Yes, so we are going to, part of my goals for 2012, I can't believe I'm saying 2012,
I know.
is to expand my fiber spinning goals. And the way that we're going to do that, how we're going to do spin-alongs for the whole year.
It's going to be different than how
2012 is every other month, beginning in February, we are going to pick out a fiber, and you can use fiber that's already in your stash or fiber that you're going to purchase from an indie dyer or a normal dyer of any kind, or just natural.
It's not going to be how we've done it this year. We've done it exclusively with certain dyers. And because of the way that Laura wants to do it this year with using different types of fibers.
And we might do cals and stuff and sale cals throughout the year differently, but this is going to be the main thing that we do this year. We are going to pick a fiber type, and you spin that fiber type, and it's kind of like a fiber study. So it's just expanding your fiber horizons. For February, it is going to be Shetland. For April, it's going to be Masham.
Masham, yes.
For June, it is going to be Romney. For August, it is going to be Rambouillet. For October, it's going to be Cheviot. And for December, it's going to be Gotland. And you can kind of pick and choose if you know that you don't want to do a long wool, or if you don't want to do this or do that, or you don't feel like spending money that month. That's fine too. It's really, really laid back. Any indie dyer who wants to offer coupon codes will have a thread for that month, and we'll put, if you have a coupon code in the top. But I wanted to give indie dyers, especially some of our friends, like Highland Handmaids,
Tempted, Girllls,
Unwind.
We have so many people.
Diabolical, like all those people that we love to spin Cloud Lover, their fiber. We wanted to kind of give them a heads up that we're going to do this, and if you want to stock your store with some Shetland and offer a coupon code of any kind, we will be happy to put that in that thread.
And we'll probably talk about it as that comes up.
Yep, and we're going to talk about the different characteristics of that fiber before we spin it. So if you're not interested in that at all, you can fast forward through. But it's actually good to know if you are just a knitter in general and you get something that says Peruvian wool versus merino versus, I know Diabolical uses some different
Falklands
sock bases, and so does the stripey person whose sock club I'm in. String Theory. She has some different bases. So it's just good to know how different wools behave differently.
To get out of your comfort zone.
Yep. So that is going to be our big spinning goals, the expanding your fiber horizons for 2012. Speaking of goals for 2012, besides that, do you have any goals for 2012?
I do. So, I don't think last year that we specifically talked about any of our knitting or...
We had a thread on the board that we talked about.
Fiber resolutions. And I find that the more goals or deadlines I put on myself, the more I don't want to do any of those things. Just stubbornness, I guess. So... my friend Jackie actually does a really in-depth list of what she wants to do in relation to baking and crafting and all these different things, which is great because,
and Jackie has a podcast.
Yeah, it's just recently changed to.
It used to be Keeping It Real, and now it's
something else. Positively Overcommitted. I was like, it's something overcommitted, but I couldn't remember. So it's Positively Overcommitted. She just changed because she's not just knitting anymore. So I have 3 simple goals that I can't apparently keep my hands on. My first one is to craft what inspires me. So a lot of the times I won't cast something on, even if I really want to, because I already have something on the needles, or I have deadline that I need to finish first, or what have you. So my first main goal is to just, whatever inspires me, if I really, really want to do it, just start it. I mean, I may have...
What's the worst that's going to happen?
4 things on the needles, but... if I love each one of those things, then what's the big deal, right? My second one is to make one thing for my home per month, because I've spent a lot of time doing stuff for other people, and I love that. I love, like, the blanket. I knew that Laura would love it, and so I didn't mind spending the time on it, but in the process, I have negated a lot of the things that I wanted to make for myself or for my home, because I wanted to do so much for other people. And then that kind of ties into my last one, which is like heresy. It's a craft-free night. You know how some people do like board game night or family night or what have you?
Bowling.
Yeah, every night for me is crafting night because I've always got something that I should already have done or I should have finished or what have you. So I'm instituting one night a week where I'm not allowed to do any crafts because, especially with a podcast, it's you put a lot of deadlines on yourself. You know.
Yes, I've noticed that more. The more we get into the podcast, we feel like we have to be crafting more and more.
And it's like, if you as a normal person who doesn't have a podcast, do you get stressed out if you don't have a finished object every week? No, because you enjoy what you're knitting or what, with exceptions for birthdays or holidays when you're supposed to have something done. But I'm really going to try to make this the Zen year. Like, where I don't put so many goals on myself. And a craft-free night will allow me to not have to say to Laura, my house is a disaster when you come over here, because I haven't had time to do this because I'm working on so many crafty things. So I hope to have one night a week where I can spend it improving my home in some way or spending more time with my family or what have you. So I'm going to institute one night a week of craft-free. I just don't know which night. And it might revolve per week, just depending on what's going on. So those are mine. Very simple, very broad. What about you?
I had some. Now they're gone. I didn't have a nice, neat list.
You didn't write them down?
No, why would I write them down? I would like to, one of my big goals for last year was to publish 12 patterns within the year.
You blew that the crap out of the water.
And I did that, and I'd like to do that again.
12 patterns.
So 12 patterns throughout 2012. I don't think that's a super hard goal, but I think it's very achievable. So I think that'll be fun, especially since I have like 12 patterns already rolling around in my head. So that's my big goal. My other big goal for 2012 is I would like to knit or spin something out of a book, like utilize one of my books every month, because I have a crap ton of books.
That was one of my goals for 2011, and I didn't do it.
Scientific term. And I would like to do that. So those are my two big...
So that's once a month, you said?
Once a month. One thing a month. Those are my two big ones. I have a lot of little ones that I'd like to accomplish. Like, I'd like to wear a pair of socks and knit a pair of hand-spun socks. But I don't want to put that pressure on me. I don't want to feel like I have to do that. I'd also like more yarn to be leaving the house than going in the house.
That's a good...
But, like, 2 for 1, Jessica and I were talking about that, and we'll probably hold each other a little bit more accountable towards that. But it's not, like, a set in stone. Like, I know when I go to Stitches, when we go to Stitches in April, I'm going to want to buy some yarn.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just what it is. But
it's
overall,
research for the podcast.
Yes, it is. Overall, I'd like to do better with that. I'd also like to photograph and put up on Ravelry more of my projects.
That's
a
good goal.
Those are my, I don't know, my kind of sort of goals. Goals change. Your life changes. It's so hard to set goals for a whole year because your life changes so much over the course of a year.
That's definitely true. There are some balls up in the air here in the Awesome household. So it's hard to say, I want to spend £1 every month or what have you.
That's a lot of spending.
You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So, I think that whatever your goals are for 2012, I think that your goal number 1 should go
not
easy.
To be hard on yourself.
Go easy on yourself when, you don't meet every single goal, because in the process you change as a person, like,
and you learn and live and experience life. So
I don't know. I have so many things in my life that are already so structured and so deadline centric that I don't want my craft to be that way.
Yep.
So, anyhow, that's your, Jerry Springer moment of the week. What did you call that? Like, at the end, he always had that 1 minute of reflection or whatever.
I've never watched Jerry Springer all the way through, so I have no idea.
Okay. But, yeah, so that's your public service announcement from the Knit Girls for 2012.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah,
Other people are hard enough on you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about yourself, so... I think that's about it for
we're
this super long episode.
We're over an hour.
Well, we've been gone for 2 weeks, essentially.
So, for mobile users, I'm sorry if this is a larger than usual download. I apologize. We typically do not go over an hour, but we hope that you've enjoyed the show. We still have fun with it, and that's why we do it.
Yep.
Because when it stops being fun, we're
done. Yep.
But we've had a really great year, and a lot of that is because of you guys, because we have such a good time with y'all. So we appreciate it.
Very fortunate.
We look forward to an even more exciting 2012.
And that's about it.
Yep.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.